Hey folks, so I just wanted to do a quick update here about my channel. My phone storage has been full and I've been dealing with that. So I have just several hours of backlog video going all the way back to the summer. This is currently now October. I mean, not October. Oh my God, this is December 11th, I believe. And so just wanted to do a quick update on that. I did get an external storage device, and I've been trying to clear space because basically I've been unable to do anything with all of this video that I've been shooting since the summer. But I'm anxious to create content, and I'm still struggling to actually do so, to try to figure out this whole data transfer process. But I think I'm understanding it. But I still don't really have a lot of space to really work with, so I still can't exactly do what I want to do right now, but I think I will be able to. But that being said, I'm sort of anxious to keep continuing to create content. So I think what I'm going to do, because I can at least maybe shoot like really short videos and updates and post them and delete video off my phone right away and do stuff like that. So I think I'm going to be doing some of that. But the problem with that is that a lot of my stuff now is going to be the chronology of my channel is going to be out of sync. So it could create for some confusion. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to, once some of this stuff starts to settle down, I think that I want to start creating a playlist that will sequence everything back in order again. But I already have posted some videos out of order, and I was trying to avoid doing that, but I think that's just I'm just going to have to do something like that. So pardon the inconsistencies in the videos as I'm posting them. So yeah, just some updates with me. I'll try to be quick and make this quick. It's December. It's early December. I'm over here on Alki, West Seattle. Getting close to the holiday seasons. We just had like crazy wind and rain storms this past week. And so I've just kind of been surviving, trying to get through that. I've kind of been maybe going back and forth between struggles, but also like revelations about van life, and feeling at times like I've really kind of cracked the code on this, and I'm doing so much better than I was a year ago at this time when I was just getting started in van life. And I figured out a lot of things, and I feel mostly about like where to stay and how to feel safe and stuff like that. And it just seemed like when I first started, I just had a ton of issues hitting me all at once within my first couple of months. In terms of my safety, and the weather was really awful, and trying to deal with that, and then also car issues. And so I feel like I've kind of eliminated a lot of my concerns about safety, because I'm finding better places to stay and better commutes to work. And so I feel like I've kind of checked that one off. And then I haven't had any like real like car issues in a while. So that's been the van's been running wonderfully. I was worried that I had like a squeak I was hearing a squeak in the undercarriage, and I took that in this week to get looked at. It's been going on for the past couple of months, and it's been a little bit stressful. But they didn't find anything, and it's probably just something inside the van that's doing it. Some of the way I have things stored, maybe. So I haven't actually figured that out. I wish I kind of would have before taking it in and having to pay for a $200 diagnostic. But at least that puts my mind at ease on that. Car's been running wonderfully. I did a big long trip out to Montana and back to see my sister back in October, a couple months ago, and had no problems with the van and haven't had any since either. So that's all spectacular. But there have been some things kind of coming up with well, I guess I should get to the weather. And so the weather is still an issue, and I'm dealing with it again this fall/winter. And these rainstorms, man, are wind and rainstorms that we get here in the Northwest are brutal. And it's really makes it really challenging for van life people. And one of the things is I actually have kind of an issue going on in the van. There's kind of two things that have been a real struggle lately that have come up. And well, one of them is that I actually have a leak back here in the rear doors. And I think it's the gasket. I think the gasket is kind of old and like dry rotting out a little bit in places. So I get it from the top and it kind of drips down. It's not a lot, but it's enough that I will find things a little bit wet sometimes after a lot of rain. And I actually did buy the replacement gasket, but I haven't installed it yet. And so I really need to do that, but I've just been procrastinating it. I don't know if I have everything exactly that I need. I might need some silicone to install it, at least parts of it. And I also need a dry day because it's been raining so much lately. I feel like I want to be able to do it somewhere where it's dry. I don't want to be doing it in the rain. Now, having said that, rain has stopped. It's not raining today. So am I going to do that today? Probably not. But I really need to, and I need to do it soon. And this is starting to get to become a problem because I'm noticing kind of that I can detect some, like, it's mildew or even possibly mold somewhere in the back here, or I don't know if it's just some of my items that are back here that are getting wet and making that smell. But it's stressful. I don't want to have some kind of a mold situation in the van, and I've been kind of procrastinating dealing with it. So that's an issue that has to be addressed. And then the other thing is my bed. And this is my bed right here. And it's like two pieces of 4-inch memory foam that I cut because the back here pops up. So I can't have one big long piece. Back folds up, and with it comes the cushions or the mattress. But I've had this mattress now for, I don't even know how long. Can't remember how long ago it was I bought it, because I bought it. I did the bed and everything and had that well before I actually moved into the van. I want to say at least a couple of years. So this foam, it's probably getting old. I don't know exactly how old, but maybe a few years now. And a lot of use. Even before moving into the van, I did a lot of camping in the van and stuff. So it's starting to wear out, and I've been having back problems, like pretty bad back problems because of it. And I think I'm starting to kind of get things under control and figuring out, like, I can't sleep in my favorite orientation anymore because it's just not comfortable, which is unfortunate. But if I move to different positions, it seems to work out a little bit better, which is why I think it's an issue with the foam, that the foam is wearing out. And it's also in conjunction with the weather and the cold weather, the damp coldness. It just gets into your body, it gets into your bones, and coupling that with a not ideal sleep situation with the bed, and the fact that I'm also over 50, all of those things kind of combine. It's just a perfect storm for back problems, and that's what I've been having lately. And also the fact that this is a small space and not a lot of room to move around. So I've been dealing with that the last maybe few weeks. I had a really bad situation like 2 or 3 weeks ago where I bent over in the this is turning into be a longer of a video than I wanted. I might not even be able to post this. It might be too long. I do need to wrap this up, but I bent over in the van to get something, and my back seized up, and that's something that does happen to me from time to time, and it's usually something that I can work out, but it seems to be something that's sort of I've been dealing with for the past few weeks, and it's definitely better. It's definitely gotten better, but there's a lot of tension in my back and neck and shoulders, and so I've kind of been, my way of handling it is I've actually been doing a lot more work in the gym and getting better, being more active, more movement, and yoga especially, and stretching. So all of those things are really combined. The pain is largely gone, but a lot of the tension is still there. And even last night, even when I'm fine throughout the day, every single night of sleeping on this bed, I wake up with more tension than I had before I went to bed. So is that actually true? Maybe there's just tension always constantly in my back and it's hard to get it out. So I've gotten through the worst of it, I think, and I'm being very, very careful with how I move around in the van. Very cognizant, very aware of just having really good posture, trying to have better posture at all times, and even when bending over and doing things in the van. And so that seems to be helping. All of that seems to be helping, but it is still an issue with how I'm sleeping. So I need to replace this foam is what I think I need to do. And that's another thing that's a bit of a challenge, because how do I get it delivered? Where do I get it delivered? I do have a mail service downtown, but the box that this foam came in was pretty big, and so that makes things a bit challenging for me to somehow arrange for a way for me to actually get that. So those are two things, and they're actually kind of related in a certain way, because when I'm sleeping back here, it seems like in certain it's like basically I can also, while I'm having trouble with a very uncomfortable bed at night, dealing with that, I've also got this kind of mildewy smell coming from the back. So it's making for a bit of a miserable experience at night for me at times. And so that's the biggest thing I'm dealing with. It is also weather related. So, but all in all, I have to say, even though that is a struggle and it's very challenging, I'm doing so much better than I was a year ago. And I'm starting to see the light for a lot of the things that I'm wanting to create in my life. And the van is being a very, it's really working out in a lot of ways in my life. And I'm starting to kind of see the fruits. It's starting to bear some of the fruits that I had anticipated that this would bring. So anyway, I'm over here in West Seattle. We've been having these crazy wind and rainstorms over the past week, and I did want to just show you something if it's still out there. out in the water on the beach, there's like all these like logs and debris and stuff out in the water, and it's really, I've never seen it. It's one of the things I like about nature and observing new and different places over a period of time, is starting to notice changes like this and just make a note. Oh, that's interesting. I've never seen that before here in this spot. And I know that I think the trees and the logs and stuff it's from the storm. And it's just really interesting to me that you know, there's flooding in the area and a lot of water related issues with the rain and the water pooling up and accumulating on roads and stuff like that. But just surprising to me that I wouldn't think that it affects the actual the sound in the sea out here as much, because the water just, you know, it all just kind of in the city, and you're close to the water, it isn't so much of a problem down here. It's not as if the water level actually necessarily rises all that much, because it basically dumps all out into the ocean. But it's just interesting that you can actually see the effects of all of this weather we're having out, even in the sound itself. That's just fascinating to me. So I'll show you. Hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. I'm going to step outside here and show everybody. Yeah, this is this big log over here. Yeah, you can see this here. Like, I've never seen this out here like this before. And it's out there too. Down trees and stuff like that. Yes, you can see all this tree and brush debris out here that you just don't normally see out here. I don't know how well it's picking up on the camera. Very interesting. And in fact, the water level is actually really high. I mean, obviously it has to do with the tides, probably high tide as well, but that is really high. So I imagine that the waters down here do rise actually from all of the rain and drainage from the rivers in the region. It probably does have an effect on the sound in the sea. Well, that's a cool shot.